I've started working on the left hand side of the vehicle. The floor, or what was left of it, I've just taken that out. The condition of the back panel here is a bit better than the other one was. This bracket was actually welded in this time. It wasn't welded there on the other side. Transmission tunnel, similar problems. It's rusted out along there, so I've got to replace that. Well, not replace, but repair that. Transmission side, it's beyond repair, so I've got a new one of those. The front panels here, similar damage. It can be repaired, so I'll repair these. Replacing the front panel. The sill, of course, is being replaced. The outer sill wasn't on it when I got it. It had been cut off years ago, but the inner sill's no good. This rear bracket, I'll probably make another one of those. I don't think I'll bother repairing. It's pretty thin, the metal there. Not too sure what the flanges are like underneath, so I've got to take all this off at the moment. Just started to drill out the welds. This bracket is pretty well intact. I might just repair that. It's just gone on the top end, so that's got to be done. Not too sure what it's like in there. This I'm replacing, so all in all, it's similar to the other side. In some ways not as bad. It's probably worse down in the pillar here, pillar area, so I've got some work to do on that. I'm just going through the process of removing the panels I'm going to replace or repair. The front of the bulkhead, replacing that, so I got that off. There's a bit of damage to the top of the pedal box where the flanges are broken off, so I've got to do that. I knew that there was damage to the metal in the pedal box anyway. You probably can't see it, but up in here around the mounting point, the thinner metal, not the reinforced section, but the thinner metal that covers that has got rust holes in it, so I'll have to cut a section out of that, replace that. There's a similar small section around the front here, but it seems to be probably a little bit thin, so I'll probably cut a bit more of that off. And apart from that, the flange is missing on the front, so that's got to be repaired. The rest of the sill area, until I get the sill off, I won't know what it's like in the A and B pillars, so I won't presume that they're okay. I was going to take the sill off now, but I've decided to work on another part which needs doing, which is the windscreen area. The hockey stick is gone there. It's gone worse on this side than the other. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad it's gone, it still needed to be cut out and replaced. But the difference is on this side there's a bit of rust down in here, so I've got to address that. But I'll take this off first and get access in there and see what the metal's like in there. But I've decided to do this first in case I've got to cut a little bit more into the pillar here. Now I wanted to keep as much strength in the body as I can. I've got supporting members and I've just welded another brace across here, but I'm hoping that's enough. But I want to make sure this is all solid before I remove the sill, which is a major strengthening point. So that'll take a while to pull apart and then look at how I'll repair it while I'm doing that, I'll clean up a bit more of the metal to see what needs to be repaired. I'll probably work on it on this angle, so I'll do some vinegar wrap. A bit hard to do it on that at the moment, but I've decided I'll clean up inside the transmission tunnel. You can see where I used the wrap on the other side. I haven't done it on this side yet, so I'll clean that up because that's all going to be repaired. All this probably up to about there has to be cut off. Bottom end of this is rusted off, so I'll have to refabricate that as well. So anyway, at this stage, concentrating on the windscreen post hockey stick area. The windscreen pillar on this side of the car is worse than the other side. The hockey stick, of course, is all rusted off on the bottom. I've made a new piece for that, that's not an issue. The other side, this was rusted out, same here, so I've got to make another one of those, that's not a problem. The addition to the rust on this side is this panel here, which I understand from just looking at it at the moment is a continuation of this. So this panel should be coming right across to there. The top end of that was badly rusted, it came off with a hockey stick, and it's also badly rusted down the side there. This piece here, it's fairly solid most of the way, but just on this end, it's got some pretty deep rust pits on this end, so I'll have to remove the worst part of that. It's probably back to about here. Replace that. The only issue I've got is not so much the fabrication, which really is not that difficult. Just getting things apart. Now this panel has to be repaired, but to do that I think it's easier to remove the panel, so that's going to take a bit of time, but I'll probably work on that next in terms of removing panels. What I am doing, as I said, I've already made up the section for the hockey stick. This bit, as I said, I'm going to fabricate, so actually I might take that out now and fabricate that, so that's done, and then I'll work my way around to this side. As I say, it's further gone on the other side. Fabrication's not that difficult, it's just pretty well straight bends. The difficult part is getting them out, but just takes time, so I'll spend a bit more time. I haven't finished this off yet, that will come back a bit further. I've made the repair section oversized, but I just wanted to get most of it off to be able to get in access to the inside, so I've done that, and I'll just keep working on it. Alright, I'm continuing to unstitch this section of the car. This is the plate that was rusted across the top. Taken that off to reveal what's underneath. This panel here that's badly rusted off, I thought was the part of the top panel that I just took off, but I don't think it is. It's actually part of this panel underneath. This one down in the bottom here, this one. And I suspect this came up and then had a flange on this side, and then that top plate was spot welded to that. The plate here, I don't know whether that was ever spot welded to the back plate here, but it did provide a marvellous place for water to get between the two pieces of metal. So what I'm doing is now taking off this panel here, which will give me full access to the one underneath. So that's actually got to come out and be repaired there, and I'll take all this off this plate here and see if that needs repair underneath there. So I've still got a little way to go before I get all these pieces off, but it's gradually getting there. But once again, it's better to take them off, cut all the rust out and rebuild it. The other piece I've got to do here is this bit here, the end. I'll just keep the rest of it, that's all solid. This bit will be cut off and a new piece welded in there. So I've still got a bit way to go to get it all off. I've fabricated some of the panels, but I can't fabricate anything yet until I actually make sure what it is I'm making. So this plate here, I'm thinking was just a plate sitting on the top to tie everything together. So at this stage I'll leave that, that's not that hard to make, but need to make sure what all this is and how this all works to make this brace. I'm sure this is a brace to brace up the pillar for the roof. Makes sense, it's the right shape, and it appears to be just added just to fill in the space here and provide support. So I'd say I'm basically going to have to take it all off and then rebuild it and put it back on. I'm still carrying on with the dissection. I've taken off the plate that went across here. That wasn't hard. This plate is the one I'm trying to take off so I can repair it. So I've still got some spot welds to take out there, but it's also connected to this plate, which folds up that way. So there's a weld in there, or actually it looks like a massive maybe piece of lead in there. Then there's another bit tacked on the end here. I mean, this car's made up of goodness knows how many individual pieces, but you know, why use one piece when you can use two? This one seems to be a bit of an afterthought, but I'll have to take that off. This plate is rusted up at this end, so I've got to take the end off there and repair that. Obviously this is going to be damaged in the process, so that'll have to be done as well. So anyway, I'm continuing. Because I'm taking so much out of the pillar, I'll put another brace which goes down to the roof line there. So that's just to stop any chance of it dropping. I mean, I've still got metal underneath here, so you know it shouldn't move, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. So anyway, I'll continue. Still haven't got it all off yet, but piece by piece it's coming apart. The dissection of the pillar is now pretty much complete. A little more to trim off that when I fit the new brace in there, but that's now back to solid steel, with the exception of this bit here, which I'll cut out and I'll put a patch into that. So I haven't done that yet, but that'll be the first job to be done. I've even taken this little end cap out, which had a hole in it, but it was brazed in. I know how it goes back in, so I'll show how that goes back in. Everything there is now solid, So as I say, I'll replace that piece in there first. Then I've got all of this jigsaw to decide what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to replace. As you can see, they were quite badly rusted. It may not be worth repairing it. I mean, they're simple panels. It's probably easier just to make up a new one than try and weld in patches and clean them up. This one as well, quite badly rusted. The way they go, that goes like that, and then this piece goes down the middle. So it's quite a decent brace. This one here certainly rusted out quite badly on the bottom end. Once again, it's probably easier to replace than to repair. And this is a little outer strip that goes on the outside of this and attaches on. This is the bit that comes up to the door, to that little cap I was referring to, a little cap that goes into there. Then over the top there's another little section that covers the join between the cap and this panel. Once again, probably easier to make, fairly simple steel, so it's taken a long time. I've blasted that, spot blasted all of that, and I've just put some phosphoric acid to kill the metal. It's taken me an hour to clean up the mess from the spot blaster. It's a terrible process. If I could have used vinegar and wrapped it easily, I would have done that, but it was just too complicated to get the vinegar around it. So anyway, that's spot blasted, cleaned up the mess, so now I can start to rebuild. The reconstruction of the pillar is progressing quite well. Repaired the section in here. I've just got to weld up this little piece here. This new bracket is just being welded in. Spot welded at the rear and sorry, not spot welded, plug welded, and plug welded along the base here, and also into the side here. This new piece at the top, I've fabricated that. That's not welded in yet. I've just fitted it. I've got to do all the holes for the plug weld, so that's just sitting in place. The repair section for here, I've made a section up for that. It's there ready to weld in, so that will be seam welded along here and then folded over into there. And I'll put a little bit of either brazing or welding on the inside. So that piece is made. I made the new piece for the outside here. That welds up against here, and plug welds in there and plug welds along there. This section here was originally filled with lead. I'll probably do the same, but I'm not going to put the lead in yet. But certainly when I do the lead work around this area, I'll put lead back into that. So that piece is made. The end piece, which is a separate piece, I've made that. That's got to be, I'll plug weld that in along there. Now the little end capping, remove those. This little piece here, I've fabricated that, that fits in there. I've got to fold that down yet, and that will go under this plate at the end there, so it seals the end of the the front panel. Not sure whether it was welded. There was a little bit of brazing around here. Now maybe there was brazing between that plate and the bottom of this, but I intend to fold that down. This is not sure whether it was that long because there wasn't much of it left, but I'll plug weld that through the top here and then look at whether I need any additional brazing in there. This little piece here, that will have to be brazed back into place. So all in all the pieces that I need to make have been made. Now I need to start the process of drilling the holes for the plug welds and then plug weld it all back together, and that will then complete the rebuilding of all of this section. I've now finished welding all the pieces in on this side of the structure. So I put the centre section in, this little bracket here, this bracket here, and the little end plate in there. Now I put a bit of brazing around in here because there was some pieces of brazing left on the old piece, so I assume that was brazed on the corner. I'll put a plug weld in the top to hold that, but along these edges it wasn't welded, it was just seam sealer. So when I come to do the seam sealer I'll fill that with seam sealer. So it's come up quite nice on this side. As I've said, I haven't put the lead loading in there yet. I'll wait until I start the lead loading. I've done these a little bit different. If anything, I've made them more neat. They were sort of fairly jagged and rugged across the ends, so I've actually folded those pieces over to make it a neater finish. Probably got a little bit to clean up along the top here, just the edges of that. Obviously I've got to chop that down just a little bit more, but haven't done the other side of the panel yet, or haven't welded the pieces in. I've fabricated them. Put a new end piece in here. That's worked out well. So all in all, it's gone in quite well. I'll say easy enough, but it's a very long process. As I've said before, there's a lot of pieces in this, and it's not until you start to put it together you realise how much strength it adds. And it's a really quite solid structure, that, when it's all in one piece. So anyway, I'll turn the vehicle around the other way and I'll start to weld the plates on the other side. Now with this side, let's say all that's new, I have to weld a supporting piece in here, find the position for it, probably in about there. I've got to do that. I had to put new metal into that, and I've got the cover plate here, which basically goes over most of that. So I've done that. What I haven't done, I've just got to make up a piece for this. I had to cut this out, this was rusted. So there's a piece that goes in there first. So that's got to go in so I can weld this plate on top of it. So there's a little bit to do on this side. Obviously more drilling for plug welds. It seems to take most of the time. But fabrication wise, just one small piece to do. Put that down there. to repair this panel. So it's getting very close to being finished, which has taken a long time. It certainly was worth the effort to put the car back the way it should be.